Alright, we're taking a look at learning target 1.1. I can create a dot plot, histogram, or box and whisker plot given data, which sometimes we just call it a box plot. Okay, so questions 1 through 5, we're doing the dot plot, then histogram for 6 through 10, and box and whisker for 11 through 15. Okay, so we're going to do a couple by hand, as well as some. I'll show you how we can use the calculator to do it as well. So for a dot plot, pretty simple. We draw a number line, then we figure out basically kind of the lowest and the highest. So it looks like 50 is my lowest, and got a 79 is my highest. Okay, so we need to go from 50 to 79. So there's start with 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 70, 75, and 80. So then, depending on how many I have, I just draw a dot for each one. So there's only 150, so I draw one dot for 50. There's a 51, so a dot for 51. Okay, and then I've got a 54, 56, a 67, the rest are in the 70s, so a 70, two 74s, two 75s, and a 79. And that's all we do with a dot plot. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So we look at this other one, life expectancy. Okay, basically the same idea, though these numbers are a bit different, right? Looks like here our low is 78, 79, 80, 82, 83, and that would have been 84, 86. Okay, so at 78 we have 1. At 79 we have 3. At 80 we have 3. 181, 2 82s, and then 83. Okay, hours slept, it's another fairly easy one. Okay, looks like we go from 5 to 10. There's 10, there's 5. So we have 1 5, 5 6s. So we just stack up how many there are. 6 7s. See, how many 5s did we have, or 6s did we have? So I have 1 5, 5. So I think I did too many there. There we go. That's right now. Then 4 8s and 1 10. Okay, so pretty simple with the dot plots here. Okay, shoe size. Looks like our lowest is 6. Okay, so we have 1 2 3 6s, 4 7s, 3 8s, 2 9s, 2 10s, and 2 11s. Okay, now let's take a look and see what we do when we're on the calculator. So apparently the voice I recorded while I was doing this didn't work, so I'm recording over it. So I hope I might be a little behind. But obviously we go to New Document. We want Data and Statistics. Okay, so that's the one we choose. Then we see it has no list in this problem. So that means we need to hit Control and then Doc so we can add another page. And we're doing lists and spreadsheets. Now, the first thing we have to do is we have to label it. Okay, so generally just a one-word label is good enough, and I usually do it according to whatever the question is. In this case, it was dealing with, I believe, World Series games. And then we just enter in our data, which can take a little bit of time sometimes. And we just go through the list and just do that data entry. We got to give the calculator the information so it knows what to do with it. Okay. Then we want to go back to our other one. We make sure that we don't have one of our cells left like that. Okay. Now, as we go back to the data and statistics, we can see that we've got data here now. So we go down to the bottom, we click to add variable, our variables game, so we choose that. And there's our dot plot, which a dot plot is a great one to use for that mode. We can adjust it. Notice those numbers. We may not like those numbers as much, so we can adjust the numbering as needed. We can stretch it out or in. Something more like that is probably what we're used to seeing more of. But we don't want to go too small because then it messes it up as well. Okay? And if we want to change that, we can use that menu Windows settings as well. All right. So again, we'll do some by hand and then some using the calculator as well. Okay? So we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so for a histogram, kind of the way we do this is we're going to have the frequency be that vertical, and the horizontal is going to be the numbers we have, okay? So we've got 1 here, right? So from like 0 to 1, so we kind of want to do a frequency table, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we're at 1. Okay, so we would draw a bar to 5. Okay, then we go to 2, and for 2 we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there'd be 4 there. So 4, draw another bar, and then at 3 we had none, and then at 4 we had 1. So and there's our simple histogram. Okay. So taking a look at number 7, same idea. Okay. Now, sometimes with the histogram, we're going to do an interval of space. Because notice we go from 40 clear up to 80. Okay, we don't want to put each number by itself. So on my frequency table, maybe I do something like 40 to 50. Or actually, let's say 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and then 80 to 89. Okay, so I'd start here and go, 40, well, we could do it at 50. That would be 40, 60, 70, 80, 90. Okay, so from 40 to 49 we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so going up to 5, so from 40 to 50, so I'm going to go right before we get to 50. Okay, then there's none at 50, right? Then at 60, 1, 2, 3. So at 60 we'd have up to 3 in that range. color this one in too. And then none at 70 and one at 80. So from 80, oops, too far up. Only need to go up to 1 right there. Okay. All right, now let's look at number 8. So here we're going, highest looks to be 21, lowest looks to be 13 or 12. So again, we could try to do just with these. Might be easy to go 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Okay, that one wouldn't be such a big deal. But on some others, we may, if there were higher numbers, that's probably as big as we want to make it. Okay, for this one, it seems kind of nice to have it separate for each one. So 12, we have 1, 2. So we also need to do how many? So I go 2 and go up to 12. Okay, then 13. We've got 1, 2, 2 at 13 as well. Okay. Then 14, we've got 1. All right. Then 15, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go up to 4 for 15. Okay. And 16, 1, 2. 17, we have 1. 18, we also have 1. Okay. Then 19. We've got, 2. So up to 2 again. And then none at 20, and then 1 at 21. So our histogram would look something like that. Okay? All right, now let's use the calculator and do the other two, because I really like the calculator for histograms. So taking a look at number 9 and 10, we'll use the calculator. So now let's take a look. Again, we go to New Document. We want the lists and spreadsheets and data and statistics. Doesn't matter which one we choose first. We can choose both, okay? We also want to add a second page, right? So we have that list. Then again, we're going to label it, okay? Now, in this case, we actually have 2 different sets of data we want to do, so we can honestly put them both in at the same time, okay? We've got the number of games, we've also got the words in the title, okay? And then we just put in the data, just simple data entry, okay? The calculator can have up to multiple different variables, essentially, data sets in it at a time. So you could even go in and enter them all in and then deal with the other stuff. Okay, there's no reason you couldn't do that. So we put all those numbers in that we've got. Doesn't matter that one has more data in it than the other one, okay? At least in this case with what we're doing with the univariate data, it doesn't. So then we go back to data and statistics. Okay, now this is a part where it determines which one we're going to use, right? So we click down here to add variable, click it, and we do the one we want to do first, either one there, games or titles. Doesn't matter the order you're doing it, but we did games, so there's our dot plot. That's the kind of the basic one that it goes to first, is the dot plot. Then we hit menu, and we go to plot type. That's number 1 right up there. And we've got those other options, and in this case we wanted histogram, so we choose histogram. And there we go. Again, if I hold down there at the bottom, I can adjust it, and when we click on each one, it'll tell me how many points are within that interval, essentially. Remember, the histogram is all about that interval. Okay? So again, can go back to the dot plots with that same thing, menu, And if you're clicking in that general area and you hit Control menu, there's kind of a shortcut way to get to it as well. Notice on the left side it's the frequency, okay? How many times are appearing in that zone. And we can click here and we can just change to titles, and since we were already on histogram, it remains on the histogram, okay? And it adjusts it according to the data. Now for these last ones, we're going to do a box and whisker plot. So again, take a look at a couple of them by hand, and then we'll do a couple on the calculator. Let's actually save these big numbers. Let's save number 11 for the calculator, and number 15 for the calculator. Okay, let's do the rest by hand. We'll do one big one by hand. Okay, so campers at national parks. All right, now we need to find what we call a 5-number summary. The minimum number, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and the maximum. Okay, we also need to check to see if there's any outliers as well. We should really do that when we're making a box and whisker plot. Okay, so we're going to need a number line here. Okay, now our minimum looks to be 2978, right? So about 3,000, we're going to do this, okay? Then our maximum, our highest, looks to be 121. Didn't see that one. Okay, so our maximum is 121,862. Now that's quite a big range, isn't it? Okay, so this would be 120,000. So we go from 3,000 to 120,000. Okay, so we're going to kind of estimate on these bigger ones just because that's a lot to have to do. So if we were to cut that in half roughly, it'd be about 60,000, wouldn't it? Okay, so that would be about 90,000. This would be about 30,000. Okay, so let's actually call this 0. So that'd be 15,000, 45, 75, and 105. Okay, let's kind of use that for our base. So what we need to do is we need to line up the numbers, don't we? So 2978, then 4410, then 6588, then 35966. Oh, 26 first, huh? 26, 322, then 35966, then 48, 497, 105, 690, 108, 593. I should have scooted things down a little bit, shouldn't I have? Let's actually do that. I like to keep them on the same row if possible. Okay, then 109, 031. And finally that highest, 121, 862. Okay, erase the top there. Alright, so to find the median, we find the middle number. So 1, 2, 3 lower, 3 higher, 1 higher, 1 lower. So my median is going to be somewhere in between. Okay, so the way we find that is we find the average of that. When you have two that you're looking in between to get that median. So 35,966 plus 48,497 equals 84 163. Divide that by 2, and we get a median of 42,231.5. Okay, so there's our median, 42,231.5. Okay, then that median we use to find our first and third quartiles. So we take the median of the lower half of data. So our first quartile is 65,088. And then we do the same for the upper half of data. So we get 108,593. Okay. Then we have all the information we need. Okay. Now, what we really should be doing is finding if there's any outliers. The way we do this is you take your first and your third quartile and you subtract them. So 108,593 minus 6,588. So I get an interquartile range of 102,005. Okay, then we multiply that by 1.5 to get 153,007.5. Okay, then what I do is I subtract that from the first quartile, which that's going to give me a negative number, so I know you can't have negative campers. So none of these lower ones are going to be outliers. Then I take it and I add it to this one to see if I get what number I get. Which I add those together, I get 261,600.5. Okay, none of our numbers are above that, so we don't have any outliers, which is great. Now we just plot it. So to plot it, we take our minimum, which is about 3,000, so about right there. Okay, our first quartile, 65, which would be about right here. Okay, then 42,000, be right about here for our median. Third quartile, 108, should be slightly past that, and then 121. So from first quartile to third quartile is our box, then our whiskers. Okay, so quite a bit of work involved with it, but there we go. On these ones with bigger numbers, it can be a little bit trickier too. Okay, maybe these ones with less numbers won't be so bad. All right, so number 13, games per World Series. So let's line them up. So 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5 6s, and then 6 7s. All right, so our low number, right? We need our minimum, our low number definitely is 4. Okay, our first quartile, median, third quartile, and maximum or highest, which is definitely 7. Okay, to get the median, 2, 3 from the high, 3 from the low, 3 from the low, 3 from the high. Then we just get down to these two. So in between 6 and 6 is also 6. And we take the low, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In between 5 and 5 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. In between 7 and 7 is 7. Okay, so there we go. So we go from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our minimum is at 4. First quartile at 5, median at 6. Then 7 is our third quartile and our max. So we actually only have one whisker off to the left. Okay. Now again, if I find that interquartile range, 7 minus 5 would give us 2 times 2 by 1.5. We get 3. Okay, 3 from 5, we'd subtract it, would give us 2. We don't have anything less than 2. Okay, add 3 to 7, nothing higher than 7. Okay, so no outlier here either. So that one was a bit easier, wasn't it? Okay, now let's do the test scores. Love me some test scores. Okay, so again, we need that number line. Looks like we're going from about 40 that should be enough. So line them up in order, first of all. Lowest looks like we've got 42. Then 1, 2, 43s. Oh, a 38. Did not see that 38. There we go. Okay, and then 2 43s. And 1 44. A 46, a 48. 2 48s actually, 3 48s. Okay. A 50, a 51, 2 52s, a 53, and a 57. Okay, so we've got our low number of 38, right? I could go low here, high number of 57, and 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3 on either side. Super scientific way. 48's our median. Okay. Then we eliminate 1 2, 1 2, 1 2. 43 is our first quartile. 1 2, 1 2, 1 1. 52 is our third quartile. Okay, so then our interquartile range, 52 minus 43, will give us 9 times it by 1.5 gives us 13.5. So I go 43 minus 13.5 gives me 29.5. None of our numbers are less than that, so no outlier that way. Then 52 plus 13.5 gives us 65, nothing above that, so no outlier. Okay, so then I just go my lowest, 38, first quartile 43, median 48, third quartile 52, there's my box, one whisker, high of 57, there's my other whisker. Okay? All right, so now let's take a look using the calculator for number 11 and 15. Now, as we pull up our calculator again, we can see that we still have that exact data that we had before. So if we go to our lists and spreadsheets, I can see our data, okay? And if I go up to the top of the column and I press up, I can delete the whole thing by hitting delete from there, okay? So I don't have to redo everything and make a new document every single time. The really cool thing is, though, that because I've already got them kind of stored in the calculator right now, because I haven't started a new document, if I hit games, because that was the same title, it still has my data saved there. But as soon as I start a new document, then we're out of luck. It's erased it, okay? So now we can just put in our new one, which was cities, okay? And we just start to enter in that data we've got right there. Now these numbers are a lot bigger, so it's going to take a little bit longer to enter them all in. And remember that it doesn't matter the order that you put them in when you're dealing with your calculator, because the calculator will sort through everything and get that all done for you. So sometimes this part takes a long time. Just depends on the numbers you're putting in. But just think about the fact that you don't have to do these by hand. So that's kind of really nice. Saves you a lot of time on that. Yeah, we're still typing them in. Yep, looks like we're done now. Okay, now I can find out some of this information by going to menu, statistics, stat calculations, one variable, We're only dealing with one list, so we hit OK. We tell it which list, that X1 list. Okay, so notice we've still got games and titles there, but we want cities. The other thing to pay attention is where the results come in. Column C, there's nothing there, so it won't override it. Okay. Now the cool thing is right there, that X bar, okay, that is your mean. We don't really deal with those other numbers there. We don't care about them as much. Notice also that it's in scientific notation because the numbers are so big. So it's really not 5.3 as our mean. It's, as you see down there, it's 535 million, I think it was. Okay, so you've got to pay attention to that, knowing that how big our numbers were, that wasn't necessarily the thing. Now we go past some other ones, and we can see that we've got the 5-number summary here as well. So our minimum, our first quartile, that Q1 is our first quartile, median, third quartile, maximum, okay? And so that's another easy way that we can find that information and get that data for us, okay? So you don't always have to go to the graph. But then we go to the graph, and it doesn't automatically change it, so we change it to our cities. Notice there on the bottom where it says 4e plus 6, that's like 4 times 10 to the 6th, okay, scientific notation. So we did menu, plot type, then we got our box plot. The cool thing is if you hover over the different pieces, we can see those. Again, that's 1.1 times 10 to the 7th. Okay, but your third quartile, median, first quartile, low number, okay, gives you all that data that you need to be able to draw the plot, or to find the interquartile range, which would be the third quartile minus the first quartile, anything like that. Plus, it'll give you outliers if you need it, okay? So, we've got our other data as well that we want to deal with. Okay, so notice that if I change a number in there, that it'll actually change all your numbers for you, okay? So if you make a mistake on one of the numbers, it's easy to just fix it. But then we've got that second question that we're going to take a look at. So I type in the age, okay, for, I believe, age at first job. These numbers should be a lot smaller. Notice, though, on the right side, those numbers aren't changing because it's not tied to the column. It's tied to the variable we use. So type in all these ages. Quite a bit more, aren't there? Oops, there we go. Then I can delete the data as well, and I can easily go back to it. We just hit menu, again statistics, stat calculations, one variable statistics, one list, choose the variable that we're going to use. In this case it's age. Okay, that first result column in C again, and there's my mean, the X bar, and then I can go to that 5-number summary, minimum, first quartile, medium, third quartile, and maximum number. So kind of a quick way that you can do that. Then I go back here, and notice it doesn't change it until I choose which one to change it at. And again, we can see there's all my data, okay? And if I click on it, I can see all the pieces of data. It kind of shows that to you as well. And that's how we do those 3 plots.